Hi, hello, how are you? And welcome back to another speed build. This is actually going to be the first room build I've put on my channel. But no, it's not my first room build, calm down. But I think it's really cool that I get to kind of show you guys how I focus on a single room. I don't know, I think that's interesting. This is different, at least for my thought processing, than doing a different house, aside from it actually being bigger and the floor plan being less complicated, obviously. Because I can theme a house, but when you theme a room, it's a little different than theming a house, if that makes sense. Because house themes are kind of broad, and then the elements are kind of scattered, not just spatially, but kind of in meaning. For instance, you could have a color theme, and that could mean you theme it in some rooms in accents, and then in some rooms in main colors. Or if you had, I don't know, a more pointed theme, like say you had a photography theme, you could take that a lot of different ways. In some rooms, that could mean the room's function. In other rooms, that could mean the room's decor. In other rooms, that could just mean the kind of, not the feel of the room, but like, okay, say you have a room that's, the function is photography, so you have a photography kind of studio setup. In another room, you have it set as decor, so that there are a lot of photos on the walls. And then in another room, the point of that room in the photography theme is that it's a photogenic room, if that makes sense. So you apply your themes differently when you go through a whole house, whereas when you focus on a theme in a single room, it's all of that. Kind of. And that's kind of how I approached this room. I decided to do a traveler's bedroom. And so it's eclectic. It's the kind of room that you expect to be changing constantly, not so much in like the bed's on this wall today and it'll be on that wall tomorrow, but that the decor and the room's vibe will change as the person who lives in it travels and explores more and more, and they get a better understanding of the world. Because this bedroom reflects the person that lives in its understanding the world. And I know I'm getting very deep with this, and it's just a bedroom in The Sims, but it's just kind of my thought process. And I had so much fun making this room for so many different reasons. But I mean, that's a big part of it for me. But anyway, it's a traveler's bedroom. So I tried to focus on using different styles of things, but making them still work together. So I tied them together with colors, with textures. So a lot of the wood is light wood in this. And then I also tied it together with a decorative, I don't want to say theme. I've said a theme a lot in this video. But kind of a decorative point, I guess. I'm thinking of a different word, but it's just not coming to me. But for that, I try to keep it industrial. I try to keep it light wood. And then I used patterns that aren't necessarily the same pattern, but that coexist, if that makes sense. Like the rug and the bed aren't the same pattern, but there's still that multifaceted kind of puzzle piece fitting together. Not quite geometric patterns, but you know what I mean. Interlocking patterns. And then, of course, I went for things that made the room look well-traveled. I have the 3 clocks, which you can't change the time on the clocks in The Sims, obviously. But so those would be the traveler's favorite time zones, or time zone, like it could be their time zone, the last time zone they travel to, and then the next time zone they're going to travel to. You can imagine it however you want. And then kind of spaces where you would expect people to store the physical memories of their travel. So there's bookshelves where you would find albums of photos and books in different languages or about different cultures, little things that you pick up in places, knickknacks, that kind of stuff. There's the nightstand is suitcases, which is kind of one of the most obvious things you would put in a traveler's bedroom, but it adds to that feel, and I think that's important. The room has kind of an emotion. Wow, I'm just being very thoughtful about this room description, and I don't know why, but I love it. And then, of course, there are plants in this room, but don't worry, it's a small space, so I restricted myself to 2 plants. But they're 2 different plants. There's a succulent, and then there's kind of a fern. And then the room has all different kinds of functions. There's a desk in this room. There's a desk in this room, guys. That means this kind of has a study. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I've had kind of a complex lately about not having studies in my bedrooms or in my houses in general. So there's a study in this bedroom. But this room is a reading space. It's a sleeping space. It's a study space. It's a place to, like, there's comfort. There's just a chair. It's a personal expression type place. There's a guitar. There's just a lot going on. There's a place where you can put postcards from different parts of the world, because there's a postcard collection in The Sims. But just anyone could collect postcards, but you feel like when you're traveling, if you get a postcard at that place, it has a different meaning than you just like the picture on something, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm just very excited about this room, and I'm very excited. I'm going to find a sim. I'm making a sim. Don't get it twisted. I can't believe I just said don't get it twisted. But I'm going to make a sim that fits this room. I'm going to make a house that fits this room eventually. I just feel like there's a very nice feeling about this room. It's calm, but it's energetic at the same time. Like, it's a calm room, but there's a lot going on. There's movement. There's just a lot. And I love it. I love it a lot. If you can't tell. And I think because I could have put an easel in here, like paintings, but I chose, if I was going to put a hobby item in this room, I decided I'll put a guitar, because music is culturally diverse. You can you can obviously pick up painting techniques and art styles in different places, but you can also be inspired by the architecture of different places, the things you see, you would want to paint them and that kind of thing. But music is a little different than painting, and I felt like that fit the vibe of this space more. And then another goal of this space was to kind of create a masculine space, because I know a lot of my builds and all of my Sims are feminine. So I wanted to create a space that kind of drifted away from that a little bit, because, I don't know, The Sims it's just a game. I love it to death, but I know it's just a game. But at the same time, I like to use, like, whatever I'm doing, I always like to try to do things that I don't normally do. Like, if you watched my last speed build, you know that I recently accomplished a goal of mine, because I suck at building small houses and I suck at building houses on a budget. And I did both in my past speed build. I built a tiny house on a budget. But we're not going to boast about that, because I did that in the last video. And so this one, I try to step away from the feminine space, and I try to step away from, like, really bright colors. Like, this room isn't dark, but it's muted and it's different. And that's important. And there's no brick. I didn't use brick to mute my spaces, because normally if I'm doing a muted space, I rely really heavily on brick. And this time I didn't. I chose my colors carefully, and I tried to use, you'll notice there's a lot of greens and yellows in here, but they're different shades. And I think everything's just tying together nicely, and I'm very happy with it. The wallpaper you might have noticed that's behind the bed, that kind of accent wall, when I first start, and right now, it is the kind of mountain pattern wallpaper, but I changed that at the end to the kind of dark tree forest wallpaper, because I just wasn't feeling that kind of geometric, kind of implied mountainscape. And the trees I like, but at the same time, I wish I could have done a different accent wallpaper and then used the birch tree decals, but I thought they were too childish. And there are, because, I mean, obviously it's The Sims is limited, and especially it's even more limited because I don't use any custom content in my builds, because I want it to be easier for other people to download them on the gallery, so they don't have to hunt for the things I'm putting in my rooms. So I could potentially have found more realistic, more masculine, more whatever I was looking for, decals. But then it would have been different for so many different reasons. There's a lot in this room, but I don't think the room feels super crowded too. Like, there are a lot of decorations, but at least for me, the room still feels very open. And also, I know this is just a room, and I did put a door and a window on it to make the room feel complete for me. But obviously, if you're putting it in a house, or you're building a house around it, or however you're using this room, you could obviously rearrange windows or take the window out to move the door, that kind of stuff. I didn't make them super integral as far as their current positions. I think you could move them easily. I mean, for instance, you could put, if you wanted to, you could put the desk stuff on the wall that the window's on, put the window on that wall. You could put the window and the door on opposite walls. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot you can do with it. But yeah, I don't know. I've done room builds before, like just a room, but I don't think I've focused on a room in the same way that I focused on this one. I don't think I've ever approached a room the same way that I approached this one. And I think, I don't know, at least for me, that's kind of a learning experience in room design, at least in The Sims, I guess. I don't know. And in ways that I can work on individual rooms working together later in my full speed builds. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. I hope you like it. You can find it on the gallery. But the video is coming to an end. The screenshots are about to roll through. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.